And welcome back to Scott's Weekly Sports Day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back with my dad today. We're here to do our college football and NFL predictions for the weekend. Let's get into those. First game out will be New Year's Eve between Florida and Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl. A rematch of the 2008 National Championship. Tough game to pick here. I'll go with Florida, I guess, to get a win here. But if Kyle Trask does not play in this game, I will take Oklahoma, but I think he'll play. I'll give me Florida over Oklahoma.
I think Trask will play, and I think Florida will win, and I think Florida will win in a high-scoring game. I think it will be close, but give me Florida by a field goal.
Next up, Iowa and Missouri. Give me Iowa in the Music City Bowl here. I like Iowa over Mizzou.
Iowa's a more physical football team. I normally take the SEC teams over the Big Ten, but in this case, I think Iowa's just better.
Next up in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, it'll be Georgia and Cincinnati. I would love for this game to be Florida and Cincinnati to make my buddy Stephen Battle have a choice, but I guess not. I'll take Georgia to get a win here over Cincinnati.
It's an interesting game. You got an SEC powerhouse coming off a mediocre season, and then Cincinnati having a great season. I like Georgia in this one. I think they're going to run all over Cincinnati and win by about 10 points.
Next up in the Citrus Bowl, it'll be Auburn and Northwestern. Give me Northwestern, who gave Ohio State a run for the first half of that game last week. I'll take Northwestern over Auburn.
I agree with Scott. I think Northwestern has more to play for. Auburn has some turmoil. They got rid of Malzahn. I think Northwestern's going to play harder, and I think they're going to win the game.
Next up, Alabama and Notre Dame. First of two college football playoff semifinals. Give me Mac Jones, Devontae Smith, Najee Harris, and Alabama to get a win over Notre Dame. Don't be shocked if you see three Alabama players go to New York after we find out who goes to the Heisman Trophy race tomorrow. So I'll take Alabama over Notre Dame.
I think it's going to be a replay of the last battle between Alabama and Notre Dame, where Alabama blew out Notre Dame. I think they win by at least 2 touchdowns.
Next up, Ohio State and Clemson in the other semifinal. I will take Trevor Lawrence and Clemson to get a win over Ohio State.
I think if Ohio State had a full season, they would have a better chance, but Clemson's 4-0 against Ohio State. They played more meaningful games. Give me Clemson, but in a close one.
Next up in the Gator Bowl, it'll be Kentucky and NC State. Kentucky favored by 2.5 in this game. I'm a little surprised by that. I'll take NC State over Kentucky, but it should be a fantastic game.
Ouch. That's a dagger to our friend Terry Jewell.
Sorry, buddy.
Terry Jewell, I got your back, my friend. I'm going with Kentucky Wildcats over the Wolfpack. Give me Big Blue.
Next up, Ole Miss and Indiana in the Outback Bowl. My buddy Kurt Esser might actually be on to this game in Raymond James. I'll take Indiana over Ole Miss.
Should be a very high-scoring game. I think the first team to 40 is going to win, which I think will be Indiana. Give me Indiana in this one.
Next up in the Fiesta Bowl, it'll be Oregon and Iowa State. Give me the Cyclones. I think Brock Purdy will play well in his final game for Iowa State. Great coach Matt Campbell. Let's hope he stays around in Ames. I'll take Iowa State over Oregon.
I'm going to agree with Scott. I think Iowa State had a tougher schedule. They played more meaningful games. I like Iowa State in this one.
And now for the the Capital One Bowl, Texas A&M, who I think is going to be very upset after where they were ranked in the final rankings. And they go against Sam Howell and North Carolina. This is probably one of my favorite games to watch in the bowl season, but I'll take Texas A&M over North Carolina.
Whole question for Texas A&M is: are they upset? They play with a chip on their shoulder in this game, or are they let down because they didn't get in? I think they'll be upset with a chip on their shoulder. I think they'll beat North Carolina by at least 10 points.
Next up in the national championship game between Alabama and Clemson, I think there's too many weapons on Alabama's side of the field right now, so I'll take Alabama over Clemson.
I'm actually going to go with Clemson. I think they've got a better defense. Alabama's biggest weakness right now, I think, is their defense. They're not as good as they've been in the past. I think Clemson will win in a high-scoring game. It's like 45-42, but I think Clemson's going to get it this year.
And now into the NFL games for the weekend. No Thursday Night Football this week. My dad thought it was last week when there was no Thursday Night Football last week.
That's true, I did.
But it's this week. It'll be Christmas Day football this week. Surprised they're not giving the NFL the day off on Christmas. And it'll be the Minnesota Vikings heading into New Orleans to take on the Saints. Give me Drew Brees and the Saints to bounce back and clinch the NFC South with a win here. Give me the Saints over the Vikings.
I agree. I think the Saints are the best team in the NFC. I think the only team that could really beat them are the Chiefs. They beat them only by 3, I think. Give me the Saints in this one.
Next up, it'll be Tom Brady and the Bucs heading in to Detroit to take on the Lions on Saturday on the NFL Network. Give me Tom Brady. I said it on YouTube earlier. Give me Tom Brady to have the best game he's had in red and pewter this week. I think he throws for about 350 yards and 5 touchdowns this week. Give me Tom Brady and the Bucs to blow out the Lions this week.
I don't know if I want to go that far, but I think Brady will have a good game, and I do think the Bucs will win over the Lions, but they'll keep it close, around 10 points.
Next up, 49ers and Cardinals. The only way you can watch this game this week is on Amazon Prime Video. I will take Arizona to keep their playoff hopes alive here and get a win over the Niners.
Yeah, the Niners have not looked good of late. Arizona is playing with, with a lot of need to get into the playoffs, so I like Arizona in this one.
Next up, the Dolphins and the Raiders, the nightcap of the Saturday games. I'm going to go with Tua and the Dolphins to get a win here on the road in Vegas against the Raiders.
Dolphins are the surprise team in the NFL this year, I think. I think they'll continue that trend, and I think they'll beat the Raiders this week.
Next up, Falcons and Chiefs. This game's over when Kansas City arrives at the stadium. Give me Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs to get a big win here at home over the Falcons.
I think the Chiefs, to some degree, play to the level of their opponent, and I think that while they'll beat the Falcons, they'll be closer than people think, but I'll take the Chiefs.
Next up, Browns and Jets should be a good game. Jets coming off a win/loss last week and losing the chance to draft Trevor Lawrence #1 overall last week. Give me Baker Mayfield and the Browns to keep it going. They've been red hot the last couple of weeks. Give me the Browns on the road against the Jets.
Only the Jets can screw up the first pick,
Right.
and by winning a game that really meant nothing.
Right.
But I think the Browns will beat them by at least a touchdown.
They can't even lose right.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Next up, the Colts and the Steelers. Two teams going in opposite directions right now. But because I picked against Kentucky in the bowl game, I'm not doing it twice to my buddy Terry Jewell in the holidays during the holiday season. Give me Big Ben and the Steelers to bounce back after that horrible Monday night performance against Cincinnati. I'm going to take the Steelers over the Colts.
3 weeks in a row, I picked the Steelers, and 3 weeks in a row, they've let me down. But I'm not letting Terry Jewell down. I'm going to take the Steelers over the Colts. They're going to bounce back. They're at home. They're going to play with a chip on their shoulder, a sense of urgency. Give me the Steelers.
Next up, Bears and Jags. The Bears need this win more than Jacksonville does. So give me Mitch and the Bears to get it done on the road against the Jags.
I agree. The Jags actually, I think, are they slotted for the #1 pick right now?
Right now, yes.
Yes, they've got nothing to play for. Literally, they need to lose.
Right.
So I think, give me the Bears in this one.
Next up, Giants and Ravens. I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens to get it done. The Giants looked absolutely horrible last Sunday night against the Browns. So give me the Ravens at home against the Giants.
The Ravens are definitely trending in the right direction. I think they're getting hot at the right time. I would not want to play the Ravens right now. Give me the Ravens.
Next up, Bengals and Texans. Give me Deshaun Watson and the Texans to get a home win against the Bengals.
Bengals were a shock last week. That was the most shocking win maybe of the season. But I don't think they'll be able to do it 2 weeks in a row. I also like the Texans at home.
Next up, Broncos and Chargers should be a good game here. Give me the Chargers to make it 3 wins in a row and get a win here at home against the Broncos.
For our boy Kyle, I'm going to pick the Chargers as well. I think the Chargers are with Herbert. They're trending upwards. He's looking really, really good. He could be one of the shining stars of the future.
Next up, Carolina and Washington. This game's going to be a tough one to pick because you don't know who's going to be starting for the football team this week. After what happened with Dwayne Haskins this week. But they're saying Alex Smith is back this week, so we'll see what happens with that. If Alex Smith can't go, don't be shocked if they go to Steven Montez, the rookie out of Colorado. If they do that, I think Carolina wins this game, but I think Alex Smith will be back this week after that ankle injury he had last week. Give me Washington over Carolina.
I'm going to go with Washington just because their defense is so good, regardless of who's playing quarterback. But obviously, if Alex Smith is in there, their chances are much better. But give me the Washington football team.
Next up in the game that might be absolutely meaningless by the time this game starts is it'll be Philly and Dallas. Give me tough one here. I'm going to go with Dak. I'm going to go with Andy Dalton, Zeke, and the Cowboys to get a close win at home. Avenge that loss they had earlier in the season when they had to go with Ben DiNucci in Philly. I think they played much better this week with Andy Dalton under center. Give me the Cowboys over the Eagles.
I like the Eagles in this one. I think they're definitely trending in the right direction, even though they lost a close one to the Cardinals last week. With a new quarterback and Carson Wentz on the bench, I think they're looking better.
Next up, Rams and Seahawks, probably the game of the week in the NFL. Huge game for the Bucks is, for Bucks fans' point of view. Big game here. All we need is the Rams to lose this game, and then we'll move up to the 5 spot. I'm going to go with Seattle. I think the Seahawks at home are going to be too much, especially after that embarrassing loss the Rams had last week to the Jets. I'll take the Seahawks over the Rams.
These are two teams that have been wildly inconsistent this year, especially the Rams. Losing to the Jets, that's a crazy loss. The Rams should bounce back, but I think Seattle will get a late drive from Russell Wilson and win by a field goal.
Next up, Titans and Packers, Sunday Night Football.
Great game.
Tough one to pick here, but I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. It's hard to win at Lambeau in December, especially when the temperature is supposed to be 28 degrees on Sunday. Give me the Packers at home over the Titans.
If there's any team that's built to go into Lambeau and win the game with Derrick Henry, imagine tackling that guy in 20-degree weather. I actually think the Titans are going to go in there and upset the Packers and get the win.
Next up, the final Monday Night Football game of the season. It'll be Josh Allen and the Bills heading into Gillette to take on Cam Newton and the Pats. Give me Josh Allen and the Bills to get a win here on the road. They get it done against Cam and the Patriots here on Monday night.
Patriots have nothing to play for. They've been mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. You've got the Bills, who have been frustrated by the Patriots year after year after year. I think they'll go in for a revenge game, and they'll beat the Patriots pretty badly.
Yep. And that will do it for this episode of Scott's Week in Sports today, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be back next week with my NFL predictions for Week 17 of the NFL season, and maybe some Premier League predictions in there as well. We'll see. Happy holidays, everybody. Happy New Year. We'll see you guys right back here next week on Scott's Week in Sports. See you later, guys.
See you guys.